Throughout pro wrestling history, there have been a number of wrestlers who couldn't stand each other in a professional and personal capacity. The idea of them working together was met by reservations by the wrestlers involved, but the majority of the time, the two wrestlers were able to put their differences aside to create memorable matches. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE wrestlers that legitimately hated working with each other. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and on wrestling channel Incredible. Number 10. Scott Steiner and Triple H. When Scott Steiner debuted in WWE in 2002, his first notable rivalry was with Triple H. This feud was supposed to be Steiner's big reintroduction to WWE, but it was a complete and utter flop. Steiner was suffering from drop foot during his rivalry, and the matches with the game suffered as a result. They had two separate pay-per-view matches which were universally panned by fans, and the two quickly grew to resent each other. Steiner believed that Triple H was self-sabotaging him in order to protect his position on the card, and this would be the bitter attitude that Steiner would carry for the next 2 decades. In relation to Triple H, he just believed that Steiner wasn't as good as he used to be, and there was no way he was in a position to be in the main event picture in WWE. Number 9. CM Punk and Ryback. If you ask CM Punk who his least favourite opponent had to be throughout his career, without a doubt he would say Ryback. When the two worked together in 2012, Ryback was incredibly reckless with Punk, and Punk couldn't stand working with him in any capacity. Punk had confronted Ryback backstage as he was concerned that Ryback was harming him deliberately. A year later, WWE would book another feud between the two, and this would be met with huge concern from Punk, who questioned why the WWE would even pair him with someone who he clearly hated working with. Punk would even cite Ryback as one of the reasons he was so miserable during the final days in WWE. In relation to Ryback, he had the same resentment towards Punk, and he would rather hilariously label him as a 90-year-old Karen. Number 8. Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss. One of the top feuds in the women's division in 2017 was the feud between Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss. Interestingly, when the two started working together, rumors circulated online that the two weren't the biggest fans of each other. Things escalated between the two when Banks cut a promo after the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, and this promo was said to be a shoot promo. In the promo, Banks stated, she came in so cute, so humbled. She came in so fake with her fake little stories, her fake little I love wrestling growing up, I love Matt Hardy. You know what? You can't even tell the difference between Jeff and Matt, you idiot. Yeah, we call you on all your lies, sweetheart. You're just here to be another girl, another heel. You just want to be here for a Hollywood act. You're on Total Divas now. You're getting what you want and you can talk your way into everything. But you know what? You can't run away from me. You can talk this, but you can't walk the walk, because you'll never be me. Bliss responded to this promo during an interview with ESPN, and Bliss simply brushed the comments off and insisted that herself and Banks were going to be professional during their matches. Number 7. Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan. A WWE Hall of Famer, Bret Hart has never been someone to mince his words, and he's been extremely open in relation to his thoughts in relation to Hulk Hogan. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where the issues began between the two, but it's often said that Hogan politicking his way to the WWE title in '93 and refusing to put Hart over certainly influenced the negativity. The two would work in WCW, and it was reported that the two had less than positive thoughts about their experiences with each other. Hart felt like Hogan couldn't wrestle, and he would even label him as a piece of shit. Hogan, however, has heavily implied that Hart never truly understood him, and this led to the conflict between the two. Number 6. Goldberg and Chris Jericho. The issues between Goldberg and Chris Jericho began way back in WCW. When there were plans for Goldberg and Jericho to feud, Goldberg believed that Jericho wasn't at his level, and that Jericho was a comedy act. When the two happened to be on the same WWE brand in 2003, the issues between the two continued. Jericho even confronted Goldberg after he was bad-mouthing him backstage, and the two got into a physical confrontation, which Jericho apparently got the best of. The two then had to work together in the summer of 2003, which didn't exactly delight either man, but the two were professional during their rivalry and managed to put their differences aside. Number 5. Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose. One of the most anticipated matches heading into WrestleMania 32 was the match between Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose. The match happened to be a no-holds-barred street fight, and fans expected an all-out war between the two, but sadly, that's not what they got. Instead, WWE fans got a lame 13-minute match which was nothing special and was the type of match fans could have easily seen on Raw or SmackDown. It later transpired that Ambrose hated working with Lesnar. During an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ambrose would claim that working with Lesnar was a nightmare as he was lazy and didn't want to do anything exciting in the match. It was reported that Lesnar wasn't a fan of Ambrose's attitude, and there was a clear contradiction of personalities that didn't come together well inside the ring. Number 4. Chris Jericho and Triple H. For the longest period, Chris Jericho and Triple H didn't meet eye to eye. When Jericho first came into WWE, one of his first feuds was with Triple H's ex-girlfriend Chyna, and it was believed that Triple H believed that Jericho was being overly stiff with her. The two had established issues with each other, but they had to work together in 2000 as well as 2002. The two would even main event WrestleMania, but the two were always professional inside the ring. Despite them having a ton of animosity towards each other and both probably wishing they could work with someone else, their chemistry was unquestionable. During an appearance on the Kurt Angle show, Jericho discussed where the dissension between himself and Triple H originated from. Jericho stated,
There was a lot of politics at that time. And when I say this, it's not from a bitter point of view or an angry point of view. It's just the way it was. So to come in, there was a lot of legit heat between Hunter and myself. Involved Chyna, involved a little bit X-Pac as well. But Hunter and I just didn't like each other. And I think Hunter had such pull at the time, such power that if he didn't like me, of course, even if he's not going out of his way to bury me to Vince, I'm sure anytime my name came up, he would be like, oh, that guy, come on. You know, it's just kind of the way the business worked at the time. So I think that might have had a lot to do with it.
Number 3. Edge and Matt Hardy. After Matt Hardy had taken the affair between Edge and Lita public, WWE decided to cut ties with Hardy. This resulted in huge backlash from fans who questioned WWE's decision making, and they consequently began to hijack the shows, demanding Hardy to return to the company. They eventually gave in, and when Hardy returned to the company, they would book him in a heated rivalry with real-life rival Edge. This was a huge risk from WWE, as Hardy was clearly out for blood, and pairing them together didn't seem to be the most sensible option in the world. There was so much resentment from both sides, and when they worked together with each other in 2005, it was a testament to Hardy's character that he was somehow able to keep his cool during their series of matches. Number 2. CM Punk and Triple H. As CM Punk was so dissatisfied with the idea of working with Triple H at WrestleMania 30 that he legitimately walked out of the company. That's how much Punk loathed the idea of working with the game. The issues between the two began in 2011, and the two faced off at the Night of Champions pay-per-view, and it wasn't a great experience for either man. Punk had an attitude that Triple H just couldn't stand, and Punk believed that Triple H was trying to bury him. It's unfair to say who was in the right, but this animosity carried over for the next decade plus, and the hatred between the two has been apparent ever since. Crazy things have happened in pro wrestling, but the idea of Punk and Triple H ever being on good terms again is laughable. And number 1, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels started off on good terms. However, when HBK joined the clique, this all changed. HBK was now a top star in WWE, and he had a brand new attitude. He was cocky, arrogant, and believed that he was better than everyone in the locker room. Hart was more traditional, and he supported everyone in the locker room and seemingly had time for everyone. Just ask The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin. The two slowly became mortal enemies as the two would exchange harmful verbal shots during promo exchanges, and at one stage Hart and HBK even had a backstage fight. This hatred for each other turned sinister when HBK was involved in the Montreal Screwjob in '97, and this completely severed ties between the two legends. Whilst they couldn't stand the sight of each other, their matches together were truly top tier, and they just seemed to click in the ring. Thankfully, both are now on good terms, and both have put the past behind them. But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE wrestlers that legitimately hated working with each other. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.